Go to Craig Lindell here in 1 second. We're going to talk to him from Waiting for Next Year.
Disagree with me?
About their defense? No. I mean, we've seen all these teams. Why not? If the defense stops the run, I believe 100% in what you're talking about.
And if they can run the ball, you're right about they have to get two of these running backs going.
And they can't.
That's the key,
There's
right?
three things. You got to stop the run, you got to get the run, and you can't turn the ball over.
Right.
The not turn the ball over thing, I believe in Brian Hoyer. He doesn't turn it over.
They're plus 12, I think, over the last 4 games. Is that the number?
Sounds right.
Plus 12. And like I said, I only got like 2 hours of sleep. I'll admit that. But I'm just being honest. When you look at the defenses from each team, throw out what you know about them. The Browns have the best defense right now as a collection. I trust them more than I trust the other 3
Against
teams.
the North. All right, let's just do fan of the week real quick because I want to get this in here before we go to Craig Lindell.
Okay.
All right, there's your fan of the week. We got this kid's name.
Sent in from Allison Rose.
Hang on.
Captain, my son Kai, Littlest Browns mascot.
Hang on. Do it again. Your mic wasn't open.
Sent in from Allison Rose with the caption, my son Kai, Littlest Browns mascot.
I would say touchdown.
That's an awesome picture.
That's all he needs to know.
That is awesome.
Touchdown. Anything else, or is that the only picture?
I had friends that looked like that last night.
There can only be one. There can only be one fan of the week.
Okay, he is the fan of the week. Congratulations, you win a big bag of air. Congratulations for you.
Awesome pick,
That's
though,
awesome.
guys.
All right, so I can mark that.
Wow, way to shut down the fan of the week.
I know Craig will be honest with me. Craig, I mean, like I don't have a lot of sleep.
Why are you throwing a
Why is he
flag at me?
flag?
Because I said you win a big bag of air.
You gonna give him a shirt?
We don't even have T-shirts anymore.
Pride of being announced on Dogs in the Run. That's like, I don't even know how to rate
like,
that.
Yeah, you
Like
get a
I
flag
said,
yourself.
the family wins. All right, we'll send a big bag of air to everybody. Is that better? The entire family.
Yes.
All right,
job.
all right, well done. All right, let's go to Craig Lindell, waiting for next year. Craig, you had, and now I can't remember off the top of my head, you had the tweet of the night last night. What was it? It was.
I got to go through his feed now.
I can't. Something about a leader. You were talking about Andy Dalton. Do you remember that tweet?
Andy Dalton, leader of men. That sound clip of him talking to his crew was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
It was awful.
It's on me. It's on me, guys.
It is
I'll take
on
care
him.
of this. I'll get
Come
this
on,
thing
man.
back.
We just got to chill.
Yeah. All right, Craig, I like you. I respect you. Am I wrong in saying right now the Browns have the best defense in AFC North?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think we've been primed to say that the Browns were going to have the best defense in the AFC North probably for the last 3 or 4 years. And now they're healthy-ish. They get Phil Taylor back. They bring in Dante Whitner. They bring in Carlos Dansby. And we've talked a lot about that, you know, where as much as we love DeQuell Jackson, he was a ceiling kind of player, and he put an artificial ceiling on that defense. No disrespect to him, but he was never going to be any more than what he was. And I think we're seeing the dividends of Carlos Dansby and Dante Whitner, and those were really questionable calls because you had a fan favorite in DeQuell Jackson. You had a young fan favorite in TJ Ward. But that's the one point that I was going to bring up to you guys this morning. There's like the difference between a functional team and a dysfunctional team is nothing but wins.
Yep.
Because I'm loving this. I'm loving the wire-to-wire victory. It's so much fun. But if you can go to some alternate universe where the Browns would have lost, how many questions would you have? You know, whether you're talking about the running backs or the Ray Farmer press conference and all these other things that you would have pointed to if they had lost, but none of them matter today. The only thing that makes a team dysfunctional is losing.
Yep. No, that's a great point, Craig. It really is. Obviously, you know, it's another game. Brian Hoyer's numbers are never going to make us run to our fantasy lineup and say, check him in next week.
Yeah, I got to read what's
Go
going
ahead.
on. No, go ahead.
Go
You
ahead.
finish.
Go
I
ahead.
want to, because this was part of the conversation. Go.
Okay. I have nothing against either guy, and I know we can go back and forth about what Ray Farmer did or did not say, but does it really matter what Ray Farmer says if he keeps going out there winning football games? Other than the one radio host in Cleveland that refuses to use his brain and talk out of the side of his head. Have fun with that this morning.
Who could that be?
Who cares at this point in time? It's becoming a joke of himself. What does it matter what his stats are? These guys win behind him.
No, and that's absolutely true. It doesn't matter what the stats are. He's never going to set the box score on fire. And the minute you start expecting him to do that, you're gonna look at him as a failure. But as long as he stays within himself, as long as you put a really decent or good offensive line in front of him, give him weapons, and have the right game plan, I mean, he's just aligned with this game plan. And he's capable of running this show It's very Alex Smithian, whatever you want to call it. And maybe there will be a point where Johnny Manziel comes in or whatever else, but it's not going to be this year. It's not going to be this year unless Brian Hoyer gets hurt, and it probably won't be next year. But I don't. Yeah, everybody. I've been adamant about this. Everyone was talking about, the Browns have a big problem coming up. They're 6-3. They don't have a big problem right now.
All righty. Well, Craig, what do you got going on the site right now, waiting for next year?
Like you guys, it's all special edition Friday versions of winners and losers. We'll be talking about all the. Probably Crowell. I don't know. All the other winners. Who's the biggest winner out of all the Browns players last night?
I'm going to say Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden got killed the first 3-4 weeks of the season, deservedly so. He struggled against Pro Bowl players. And I know A.J. Green's coming. But you know what? You slow down A.J. Green, and suddenly you got an easy win. And he did it last night in a big situation. I'm not telling that's who I would go with, but Joe's up there pretty high for me.
There's two ways on my side of it. I think you could either go Kyle Shanahan in some ways. I think you can easily go Brian Hoyer too. I know he didn't throw a touchdown pass last night, but he and I'm not. We always say manage the game like it's a horrible thing to say. He owned the game last night. You knew he was in control for the entire game last night. You knew that when they came out and scored last night, they scored with a purpose. I know that they ran the ball 5 times. They were able to establish that offense, and he was able to establish what he needed to do last night. Fair enough?
Hey, any quarterback that wins has to manage something, right?
Absolutely.
I hate the statement because Peyton Manning doesn't manage the game in the fourth quarter.
Of course he does.
Tom Brady doesn't manage the game. I think it's just a bad quote that we use in the media. Of course they manage the game. They're a quarterback.
All right, Craig, thank you so much. We'll talk to you on Monday. You back with us on Monday?
Sure, absolutely. Enjoy the weekend, guys. It was an awesome night last night, and now we got our Sunday off.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Craig, don't let the ESPN people make you go crazy about what's going on with the Cavs either, please. Let's be normal. Nobody remembers games in November in the NBA.
No, they don't.
Got it.
It's all good. Talk to you later, Craig. All right,
what's going on Twitter?
Well, no, we're going to come back here. Tim Couch is standing by. We're going to do Grade the Team, and we're going to do it with Kenny Rhoda here in a second, too. All right, so this is, and I'm not even going to say the name, and I just want to read the tweet because this is the argument on the other side. When it comes to the quarterback, this guy Sean on Twitter said this, and I'm sure there are others saying this as well. When it comes to Brian Hoyer, I still give them a C+ because they haven't played any real contenders. I think Hoyer can't handle the spotlight.
Can I ask a question?
Let me keep going.
All right.
How so? The Bengals are nowhere near a top team. Put Hoyer in a primetime game against a legit contender.
Say what you want. Cincinnati's been in the playoffs 3 years straight, Sean, whoever you are. Yeah, they may not be the New England Patriots, but they've been in the playoffs every single year.
Last night wasn't primetime?
Yeah, that was
on 3 days rest without 3 Pro Bowlers.
Look, let's be honest.
I'm tired of it, man.
Some people like blondes, some people like brunettes, and some people can't get over it. Just because you don't like Brian Hoyer doesn't mean you have to discredit him. And I think that's what we talked about this last week. There's some guys that go to the game and they want to see Johnny Manziel play. Of course. The hell with what happens with the Browns.
No, they don't care if it's win or lose. They just want to see him play. All right, Eric, the referee, where are we at right now? What are we doing?
All right, we're going to grade the team. And
grade the team.
We're going to start with the man that stats don't matter, Brian Hoyer.
Okay, well, that's the point.
Easy
I think we just already did that. I gave him an A.
I gave him an A.
What do you got for a grade sheet? And then Tim's back with us, and Kenny's back with us, too. All right, so everybody's on board. I gave him an A for the exact same reasons that I just said before. He went out. He took control of the game. You knew he was in control of that game from the very beginning to the very end. He is your quarterback. He's 9-3. Enough with the BS. Stop it already. He's the man that, I mean, you look at all the quarterbacks that we've had, and Tim's included, he's been able to have the success that no one else has been able to have with weapons that people will question till the end of eternity for the first 10 games.
He hasn't even had the weapons.
Yeah, that's my point.
Give us that game in Atlanta. You may see, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's talk to Kenny and Tim.
All right, that's fine. Tim, go next.
I gave him an A too. I agree with you 100%. Under 200 yards, he didn't throw a touchdown, but I thought it was probably his best game that he's played all season long. Complete control from start to finish of that football game. Yes, he had a great running game to support him, but he was throwing the football so well in those conditions down the field. They were taking shots down the field off their play action pass game, and Brian was throwing with so much more velocity and so much more zip and accuracy than Andy Dalton was. And I think that made Andy, as bad as he played, look even worse because Brian looked like he wasn't affected at all. So I gave him an A. It's just each and every week I get more impressed with Brian Hoyer and what he's able to do and the talent around him, the lack of talent around him that, the guys he's playing without right now makes it even more impressive to me the way he's able to go out and continue to win football games for this team, and just another impressive performance for me.
Kenny, quarterback.
For me, he gets an A. How can you not give him an A? Primetime game, as Tim pointed out, he was mentally tougher than Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton let the elements affect him. And Brian Hoyer said, no way this is affecting me. Maybe Dante Whitner's speech affected Brian Hoyer as well about the toughness with the way Dante grew up and what he had to go through, and playing football was nothing compared to that. So Brian Hoyer went out there and said, rain, wind, so what? I grew up in Ohio. I've played in this weather my entire life. This is nothing. I'm used to this. And he went out, didn't turn the ball over, managed the game, made a few big plays in the passing game when he had to, and he led this team to another win yesterday. So he gets an A.
Eric, the referee. Next topic.
Real quick, you guys touch on this. Who would you guys rather have right now, Andy Dalton, Brian Hoyer?
Well, today it's Brian Hoyer. I don't know how you can say
I said it
anything.
yesterday morning at this time. I'd take Brian because, as Kenny just said, when the lights get bright, Andy Dalton, for whatever reason, isn't the same quarterback. The one thing you know about Brian is he will be prepared for whatever situation is put in front of him.
Gentlemen, Kenny first.
Right now, and I never thought I'd say this, guys, I'd take Brian Hoyer over Andy Dalton. The track record isn't as large, or the sample size isn't as large as Andy Dalton's, but Andy Dalton in 6, 7, 8 primetime games, 2-6, 3 playoff games, 0-3. We haven't seen Brian in a playoff game yet, so it's tough to say. But head-to-head last night on Andy Dalton's home field, Brian Hoyer beat him head-to-head. Give me Hoyer.
Tim?
I'll take Hoyer as well. You guys all made great points, and the biggest reason I'll take Hoyer is because what he does late in football games down the stretch is the exact opposite of what Andy Dalton does. Andy Dalton in these big games down the stretch turns the football over, forces things. Brian does the exact opposite. He takes care of the ball, manages his team well, gets his team in the end zone. He does the things that's necessary to win games at home, on the road, wherever it is. He's a proven winner. His track record, like Kenny said, isn't as big as Andy's is, but you can see that this guy has all the makeup to be a big-time starting quarterback in the NFL.
I don't know if you guys saw this last night, but on ESPN or on NFL Network, Deion Sanders and the crew had Brian Hoyer up on the set with them.
I watched the whole thing, yeah.
Now nationally, you got guys like Deion Sanders screaming out, "Pay the man."
Oh.
So now you have, and we've gone through this, Kenny and Tim.
He said, I couldn't tell who the $100 million man is.
Deion Sanders played the best agent he could last night for Brian Hoyer.
Absolutely.
But now you got nationally everybody going, well, yeah, if Andy Dalton's getting $100 million, why isn't this guy?
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, Ray Farmer, be careful what you say, because now you got the national guys going against you.
All right, Eric, what do you got next?
All right, the three-headed monster, 52 carries, 170 yards, and each of them got a touchdown. Grade the running backs.
It's hard not to give
Easy.
them an A either. I think
Yeah.
that was easy. Throw the board. Let's go to Tim first. What'd you give him?
I gave him an A+. I mean, you talk about going on the road on a short week, playing a defense like Cincinnati, and then all 3 backs get into the end zone. I mean, I thought it was an impressive performance. The last couple of weeks, under 2 yards a carry for this running game, and all of a sudden they find it. They find the spark. They turn back to the rookies. They go to West. They go to Crowell, and those guys carry the load for them, and they were impressive. So an A+ for me.
It was an A+ for me because all 3 guys got it in the end zone. They were all able to find the holes last night. There were times, they all averaged more than 3 yards per carry last night. That's all I need to say. Anything better than what we've been seeing over the last 2 weeks. It didn't take too much for me to have to jump up on this, especially when you were looking at less than 2 yards per carry. Now you're all over 3. So they did what they needed to do.
Guys, that's old school high school football. They ran 52 times. When you run it 52 times, that means I'm kicking your butt. Literally, I'm kicking your butt play after play. You have to give them an A.
Kenny.
I gave him an A, guys. Didn't give him an A+ because of the yards per carry average, but that's just being, picky there. Take the A, be happy with it. The attempts, what's the best friend of a quarterback? A running game. And they used it last night, and they should have, because Cincinnati's defense against the run is putrid. So kudos to the O-line. We ragged on them the last couple of weeks, especially McDonald at center. They opened up some holes, and all 3 running backs got in the end zone, and I think that's the first time that's happened since '94, where 3 different Browns running backs scored touchdowns in a game, and that was, I believe it was Metcalf, Biner, and our good buddy Leroy Horde was the last guy to join that trio back in '94.
Next. Eric.
No Andrew Hawkins, no Josh Gordon, no Jordan Cameron, no problem. Grade the Browns receivers.
Kenny, go first.
They get an A, guys, and nobody was harder on this group before the season started than yours truly. In those conditions, again, on the road, in prime time, and I know Hall didn't play last night, but the Bengals secondary is still decent back there. They didn't have their linebackers, but they outplayed the Bengals secondary. They ran great routes yesterday. Hoyer delivered the ball, and they made catches. The one throw by Hoyer to Dre down the left side near the 5-yard line, over the linebacker in front of the safety. He made the catch, Dre. So wide receivers, tight ends, I give him an A.
I give him an A. How could you not? I mean, think about the names Kenny just said that we're waiting on. I mean, and no offense, Gary Barnidge, 2 great catches as well for the tight ends. Dre with a great play. And I'll give credit to Travis Benjamin, because Travis Benjamin has not been a guy throughout his career that's been willing to go over the middle. But Kenny, I'll never forget that first game against Baltimore on a Thursday night. Caught a ball right in front of Ed Reed, and he slid into third base, basically, because he didn't want to get hit. He's running routes that he has not been willing to run. He's never going to be a big-time, post him up 8-9 times. But he had a couple big catches on play action where they play deep on him because you expect the deep ball. They're taking advantage of that speed. I give him an A. Miles Austin, I still don't think can run a 40-yard dash without pulling a hamstring. But
doesn't matter. He just gets first downs.
He moves the chains. God bless him.
Tim.
I give him a B+. Probably should have given him an A. I thought they played really, really well. The only reason I didn't give them an A is because no one got into the end zone from that group. But, I thought they played outstanding all night long consistently. They won their one-on-one matchups, and they got the tight end involved. Barnidge had a couple of big catches. And, we've talked about how well Brian threw the football in the wind and how difficult that is for quarterbacks. It's also difficult for receivers to catch the football into the wind because the ball is moving a little bit as it comes to you. And I thought the Browns receivers were excellent at catching the football in traffic in those type of conditions. So a B+ for me.
Yeah, I was sleep deprived when I gave out this grade. I'll be honest. I gave them a B. They were probably A.
What's the difference now?
I think I did this last night, and I was still sleep deprived on that point. But the wind was a factor that I forgot about that Tim brought back up. And I don't know. I think it was the end zone problem. And it's not a problem. It's just that was maybe why I gave him a B when I was half asleep. Next.